Welcome to the Traveling Professors. I'm Professor Bob.
And I'm Professor Sheri.
And together we are
the Traveling Professors.
Today, Sheri and I, in show number 47, are going to take you on a walking tour of the arena in Nimes, as well as their famous Roman History Museum. But we're also going to look at just how good of a deal it is for the Romans who have built an arena in your city. Because from a cost-effectiveness point of view, if you manage to keep it up and keep using it, as the people in Nimes, as well as the people in Arles and in Verona in Italy have done, you can really make some money out of it. Here's our usual aerial shot of what we're going to be looking at today. But as you can see, they're right next to each other. The Nimes Arena, pretty obvious. And right here is the Roman Museum, the Museum des Romains, as it's called, which has thousands of artifacts. Now, the Roman arena in Nimes was built after the one in Arles. Remember, I mentioned that the people of Nimes felt slighted that how dare Arles have an arena. So they got their wealthy people to throw in some money and build their own. So it is built around 100 AD. It's an ellipse, 133 meters by 101 meters. The center area is 68 meters by 38 meters. And the facade is 21 meters high. Now it has 60 entrances, 34 terraced rows of seating, and it can accommodate 24,000 spectators. And of course, like all the other arenas, it's separated into the 4 divisions based on class. Now it was also covered in ancient times because there are 120 brackets to hold the supports for that awning that would go over it. I would point out that the people of Nimes also can cover it today, but not the entire arena. I'll show you that towards the end. Welcome to the Traveling Professors. I'm Professor Bob, and I'm all by myself today because I am down in the arena area of the gladiatorial arena and bull arena today of the Nimes Arena. Hope you enjoy the show. Sheri did not go with me to visit the arena. She did not feel very good. She had some sinus problems from allergies that popped up while we were in Arles. So I'm going to start out here at the top. I walked all the way up to the top of the stadium and then did a lap around the whole building. So here you have the corridors. And we're moving along. And then you reach a section where it's open. And you have this beautiful view out on the city of Nimes. Here is a view of the Roman Museum that we'll be visiting later. And then here is one of the plazas outside. You can see the statue here, which we'll see later on. That's a bullfighter who was killed in bullfights. And then the next venue, as we're looking back towards the train station, there's this large green space. And there's the Justice Palace, the courthouse. And then we come back around, and one of the things that happened is I got a little lost. I couldn't exactly make a complete lap because they were doing some work in one section, so I literally had to backtrack. But I finally found the spot where you could get down and head towards the stadium floor and the regular seating. You can see how high up I am on the arena looking down. And when you see pictures of the arena, sometimes you'll see that there's a red fence that goes around the interior. Well, that's because they're doing the bullfighting there. Everything is removable. They're using this for multiple purposes. Music festivals, the Roman festival, and even covering that section. But you can see up here that a lot of the original stone seating is still in place at the top. More modern seating down and below. And when they do festivals here, the whole place is available for seating. I think they use just the section where the stage is back behind it and leave it open. So let's head down to the floor because I saw people walking on the arena surface, and I've got to do that. After a lot of trial and error, I finally got into the position to walk out what is known as the Gate of Life. So I turned on the camera, and here we go. So we slowly walk out into the arena. And of course, once you come out of that gate, you see the whole thing in front of you. And unfortunately, if I were Spartacus, I would be a little bit disappointed because the crowd is kind of small. And so then here's a nice panoramic view of what it looks like to be in the arena. And although I wanted to, once again, say I'm Spartacus, the crowd just didn't warrant me doing that. But you can see the wonderful view that you have from down here. It's just that I'm glad I'm not fighting. After I finished at the arena, I gave Sheri a call and we met across the street at a little restaurant and had lunch before we went in to visit the Roman Museum. So here's the view from our seats. It's got a nice shot of the little amphitheater there, and then here's our little coffee shop, snack shop. But we still have a little bit to do with the arena. I'm going to use the same slide that I used with Arl's use of the arena after the Romans left. Now, the Romans' last dated inscription in the city of Nimes is around 223, 240. And the city is then, in 470, absorbed by the Visigoths. Around 1180, the Middle Ages, it begins to grow again. The arena was turned into a fortress and had homes. It had two churches, the Church of St. Martin and the Church of St. Peter, St. Pierre's. And then all additions after the Roman period were removed around 1786, when restoration was started by the architect Henri Rouvel and completed in the mid-1800s. This map shows how the buildings were constructed in the arena at Nimes during the Middle Ages. And I would point out something else. This arena had its own set of knights. They are called the Knights of the Arena. They are auxiliaries initially for the Vicomte de Nimes, who was a vassal of the Comte de Toulouse. There were 30 men at first, and then ultimately at their height there were 100 knights that lived here. They were removed, however, without a fight in 1226 by the French king Louis VIII. Francis I is the French king who decided to restore the arena, but basically all he was able to do is clear out the second level. So far, the arena in Nimes has been an arena, and it has been a fortress, and technically a town in the Middle Ages. So what do we do with it today? Well, here's the picture I've shown you before. And you notice that the arena has a red stripe around it. That's for bullfighting. They put the bullfighting fence in so the men can jump over the fence and get away from the bulls. Now, they do two types of bullfighting here. Here's the picture of what is known as the Khmarg bullfighting. And I want you to notice the horns on the Khmarg cattle, how spread apart they are. And what you're supposed to do, you see it's not a matador, it's just a participant here. He is trying to get a piece of paper that is kind of stuck on the top of the head of the bull. If he does that, he'll win a prize. And of course the bull is trying to run him down. And then he can jump over the fence and escape. So that is Camargue bullfighting. And then here we have Spanish bullfighting. Yes, then they do kill the bulls in this particular one. In the Camargue bullfighting, the bulls survive. And here we have the Spanish bullfighting, and you know how that ends up. And then if you go outside the arena, here is the monument to one of the famous bullfighters who was killed in the arena fighting bulls. Well, what else can we do in the arena at Nimes? Well, here's a flyer showing what's next, and that is the Roman festival. Here is a picture of the emperor of the Roman festival leading out the initial parade, opening a day of fighting, chariot racing, and gladiating in the arena. It is just stunning. You can't have a Roman battle without Gauls, so here's the marching Gauls coming into the stadium. Look at the crowd back behind the Romans and the Gauls. And here we have the Romans moving their turtles in the position. Now they do a whole day's worth of events, so they change the scenery and what have you in here. So here we have, so they're going to have some chariot racing. So you see the charioteers, they brought in some objects that can act as a spine while the men then take their two-horse chariots and then ride around the stadium with everybody cheering. So we have chariot racing as well. And then, of course, they have gladiating. And in this picture, you can actually see they do it really well in the fact that the men in white are actual judges. They do have judges on the arena floor to make sure that contests are going fairly. And, of course, then they do all sorts of different combats, and different groups of soldiers are put in here and different gladiator types. And they even give out a wooden sword at the end, giving the man his freedom. So it's really fun. This Roman festival even has It's not a naval combat. It simply simulates the invasion of Gaul by the Romans. And so you have these ships come in that have Roman troops, and on the other side you have the Gauls, and then the two will battle it out with each other until gradually the Gauls are pushed back out off of the arena through the entrance. So they have quite a bit of stuff going on, and they also do plays and have singing and dancing in between the combat. And with a facility like this, why wouldn't you do rock concerts? Notice in July of 2021 who was playing. Kiss, the final tour ever. Here's what it looks like at the end of a rock concert when they fire the fireworks off over the top of it. Milan Farmer has performed here. I think the Foo Fighters are going to be there this summer in 2022. So look for those music festivals at Nimes. Well, those are great outdoor events, but what do you do when it rains? Well, in 1988, a removable cover was built for the Nimes Roman Arena. The architects were Finn Geipel and Nicholas Michelin. They were used a consulting engineer, Schlock Bergermann. One of the requirements was that it had to be able to be put up and taken down in a 3-week time period. And there was absolutely, couldn't have any wind while they were constructing it at all. It's now run by forced air. It takes 5 hours to fill the little theater up, and that would allow them to have some air conditioning in there as well. Now, the arena normally is 101 by 132 meters, but the temporary bubble is just 57 by 88 meters. The people of Nimes are really getting their money's worth out of that Roman construction. Well, I had a great time at the arena, but I'm meeting up with Sheri, and after we've had lunch, we head off to the Museum of the Romans. So here it is over in the corner, and here's the view of it as we head across from the plaza region. This museum is noted for having all kinds of interactive exhibits, but in COVID, this is a little troublesome because you really shouldn't be putting your finger on everything. Well, they figured out how to get around that. They gave everybody one of these. Has a little rubber tip on it that allows you to do all of the maneuvering that you need to do throughout the whole museum. Now, one of the things that you couldn't do is they have a whole series of things for the kids to pick up and maneuver around. That you couldn't do. They had that, so you couldn't mess with those. But you come in on the glass floor level, get your ticket. Of course, we had them in advance. You needed to have them in advance. They checked your passports to make sure you'd been vaccinated. And then you head up the stairs. You just kind of start at the top and work your way down. And this covers the history of the area from the beginning until the end of the Roman period. So one of the things that you come to initially is this building, this reconstructed house of what the homes looked like. There's an exterior view, and then there's a view on the inside of some of the artifacts that they've put in to give you an idea of what went on here. And it's also noted for models. So here is a model of one of the early cities of Nimes that has fortifications around it, and then has these buildings not only inside the walls but outside the walls scattered around. Then they have a section where they have a grave that they've reconstructed, and some of the grave goods that you would find in those burials. And then you come to an area where they have some models. So here is a model of the area which became the Temple of Diana. So you have the area where the water came from, the spring came from, and then the little central area. And if you remember what the front of the Temple of Diana looked like, here is the whole building. And of course, this was all taken apart for other purposes later on. So this is what the whole complex would have looked like. And then here is the Roman complex for the Maison Carrée, which was the little temple commemorating the early grandchildren of the Emperor Augustus. And of course, we have to have a model of the arena that we've just visited. And then we have some statuary everywhere. And then we come to this wonderful mosaic floor. And you can view this from different venues. So here's the shot looking directly at it. And then if you go off to the side, they have projected what the walls of the villa would have looked like where it was placed. And then you go up a level, and then you can see it from above. Just beautiful. And then on that level, you get a nice view of the amphitheater across the street. We come to another area where you have some more mosaics on the floor, and of course the mosaics were put on walls as well. Gigantic pottery collection. And here's Sheri standing in front of a gigantic amphora or giant jar. and then this beautiful display of glass. The glassware is really hard to find in complete form from the ancient world. And then, of course, we come to some more statuary. This is Antonio Minor, but my favorite was the little child with the animal that he's hugging. And then here's an example of an area where the children would come in and be able to touch objects and pick them up and do other things with them. But they've got markings all over it, and they actually have it kind of blocked off. One of my favorite pieces of glass in the whole museum was this magnificent cobalt blue pitcher, just gorgeous. And then as we get ready to leave, there is this very large collection of statues. That's actually in the front of the museum that you see, but you don't get a chance to actually look at it really close until you're ready to leave. Now, we did not go out the front, we went out the back, because out back they have a little park area where you can sit, eat, and what have you, and it shows all of the archaeological material that was on this location when they built the museum. Now, you notice I haven't talked about a theater for Nimes. They have a theater, but they chose not to excavate it. And then here's a looking back from the little garden area outside the museum. And that completes our tour of Nimes Arena and the museum. So we hope you enjoyed that. Sheri and I hope you enjoyed the tour. Please come by our YouTube channel at Bob Packett, and please subscribe and leave some comments. Thank you very much. I've been doing podcasting on history for over 15 years. I've got over 4,000 shows, and I've done CDs, which of course can be sent out as USBs. So if you would really like to get more on history for free, then come by my website, as you see here, historyaccordingtobob.com, and see what's there. So thank you very much again.